Hi, this Islamic Dad here. If you enjoy this channel, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. Today I'm going to do a video on something that takes place during the devalue phase. And it's something that I think most people are aware of, at least on some level, but aren't sure exactly where it falls within the full relationship with the narcissist. So that's what I wanted to deal with specifically today. So I was, as per usual, reading or watching something about narcissism and narcissistic relationships. And one of the things that they had noted or talked about was how before, and this is the key point, before the discard, there is going to be a period of time in which the narcissist is really in duplicitous mode, meaning when you're with the narcissist, things are still going to be good. They're going to be affectionate. They're going to be loving. They're going to respond to you in a positive manner. It's not going to be 100%. Like it was, say, during the love bombing phase or anything like that, but it's not going to have the same negativity that you experience at the very end of the relationship. And so, at least at the time, you may not realize anything's going on, and you might think, okay, well, things aren't great, but it's smooth sailing. I have my partner. They're not perfect by any means. They're not the best. Things could be better, but things are good enough. And if I, go to my partner and I say, hey, this bothers me, they might say, oh, okay, I'll stop doing that, at least for a while. Like they'll make some effort to address issues that you bring up. And so from your perspective, you think things are going pretty well, because honestly, your experience is, with the narcissist at that time, is overall pretty positive. But what is going on that you are not aware of until after, long after the fact, is that during this phase when you think it's smooth sailing and everything's just kind of, going along okay, the narcissist has begun the smear campaign. It may not be to the foaming at the mouth, venomous level that it will be at the end of the relationship, but the narcissist has started the smear campaign, and that's where there's this like crazy duplicity. And so I know for me, one of the things that I was asked by people, after the end of, my relationship with the most recent narcissist was, they would say, what was going on? Why were you staying there? And I said, well, I don't even understand the question. At that time that they were referring to, things were good. We were going dancing, we were going camping, we were having, romantic nights. As far as I was concerned, things were great. And they were like, okay, the whole time the narcissist was doing that with you, behind your back and outside of that, she was talking about how horrible you were, how you were the devil, how you had all these, mental issues, and you had all these bad, character traits and these toxic behaviors, and just, was, really starting to paint you as the embodiment of evil. Just absolutely horrible. And I said, well, that's totally bizarre, because this was also my experience. And I pointed out that, from my perspective, say, with social media, my partner would also show, some photos of us, say, happily dancing at the club, or here we are, at a fancy restaurant, all dressed up and stuff like that. And the person I was talking to said that that was one of the parts that that made everyone question, not just my sanity, but also the sanity of the narcissist, because they were like, no, that's very true. The problem is, it was this complete back and forth. And so there would be one. I mean, this is a hypothetical exaggeration taken out of context and moved around, but a good example where you would have a narcissist going on, say, social media or even to their friends and saying, yeah, these are the engagement rings we're looking at. And we're thinking about having our honeymoon in Ireland, or we're having our honeymoon in Vermont, or something like that. And they would do that one day, and then the next day they would just say, oh my gosh, I don't feel safe. I'm worried for my personal safety. I can't take the emotional roller coaster from my partner. They're insane. They have all these, toxic traits. They're mentally ill and all this type of stuff. And so one day the narcissist is talking about how you're wonderful and this is where you're going to get married. And the next day they're talking about how you're the worst person on the planet and basically pure evil. And so, this is a bit of a side tangent here, but at least what happened in my experience with this is that a lot of people saw the narcissist doing this and they were just like, okay, not knowing about like their partner. They're just like, okay, this person is nuts. How can someone portray their life as going swinging back and forth between, oh my gosh, I have the dream relationship. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is happening. I'm being terrorized or something, and just do that, back and forth every day. But again, I think that was actually more related to the situation that I was in, though I could be wrong. If you have experiences of like that roller coaster on the part of the narcissist, please, share in the comments below. But, my main point with this video is just this idea of that while this is happening to any degree outside of the relationship, where the narcissist is starting the smear campaign and portraying you as the most horrible person ever, at that, when they're starting that, things are still good. You're still getting along. They don't complain to you. They don't ever say, hey, these are these make-believe behaviors I want fixed, or these are these fabricated problems that I want resolved. No, as far as you're concerned, it's movie night, or it's let's go dancing at the club. You're having fun and stuff. And so it's very disturbing, honestly, to then put yourself back into that time frame and think about that the whole time that you were enjoying, cuddling on the couch, or having Easter brunch or something like that with the narcissist, that at the exact same time the narcissist is going behind your back and just lying and saying that you're horrible and you have all these toxic traits and that the relationship's a nightmare, etc., etc. And so one of the things that I wanted to kind of point out time-wise is that I would have to say that I think that it's important to conceptualize what I described as part of the devalue phase. And the reason I say that is because, from my perspective, and I think other people that have been, studying the issue, the disorder, would agree, is that the discard can be split into two parts. There's the emotional discard, which, in my opinion, two things happen. One, the narcissist has chosen their other person, or your replacement, and has basically flipped the switch. That is their future. It is not a backup plan any longer. It is plan A, is to move from you over to their other person and make their other person their favorite person. That's one part. The other part is that when that emotional discard happens, so to speak, a lot of the mask falls off. The narcissist will no longer try to keep things going. They will no longer try to keep the relationship in a place where it's smooth sailing. They don't give a crap. They don't care at that point. They have already chosen the other person as your replacement, and they're just waiting for their partner at that time to self-destruct, or more specifically for the relationship to self-destruct or something like that. And so they're going to start treating you really badly. During the devalue phase, there might be some times and some points where the narcissist is apathetic, doesn't necessarily treat you with the respect and affection that you deserve as a partner in a relationship. But once that emotional discard happens, no, it is very black and white. At that point on, the narcissist will be mean, the narcissist will be cruel, and the narcissist is just cold as ice. They do not care any longer, and they're going to make a change with their relationship with you to really try to either push you out or get you to end the relationship. Or what I've seen, and it sounds like from what I've read and heard, this happens pretty often with others, is that the narcissist, once they reach that emotional discard phase and they're waiting for their partner to just kind of leave and stuff so that they can play the victim, be like, oh my God, they left me, wah wah wah. That if that's not happening in the time frame that the narcissist is hoping for, they will manufacture a crisis. They will invent a situation or circumstances where a blow up, a fight, takes place. And at that point, they will, put on a big show and put on, airs of being outraged and shocked and be like, I can't believe you are doing this to me. And I can't believe this is happening after all we've been through. I need to, take care of myself and, leave, or, take your stuff and get out of my, sight. I just do this like operatic or, just this really over the top dramatic, circumstance that they've actually fabricated themselves. And so in retrospect, you're like, wait a minute, we broke up because I didn't use my turn signal when I made that right turn, and that triggered you about like abandonment from some issues with your childhood. I mean, again, it doesn't have to make sense later on. It just has to make sense enough in the moment that the narcissist can perform the act of leaving you and expect you to play along with your part in that, that drama. So yeah, so that's like, way at the end. But back to like the specifics of this video. The part where there's this duplicity, where you're enjoying the relationship. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. While the narcissist is already planting the seeds for the smear campaign. And I think that happens through the devalue phase. And at least like in my respect, looking back, it is crazy because I think it may have started like a year before the emotional discard. I mean, that is a long time. And so and just to like be clear, while the narcissist is in this duplicitous part of the relationship, they obviously have their other person, but their other person's still a backup plan. It is that person is a plan B, and that person does not become plan A until the emotional discard. So again, you're just like, holy cow. So not only are you being duplicitous for a year, but during that whole year, you're already having this like emotional affair with your other person and kind of prepping them for, the next relationship you want to have. And again, I mean, that's so much work. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm like, God, I don't even like, putting time on the calendar for doing my taxes. I don't think I could plan out like a whole year of being duplicitous, planting the seeds of the smear campaign while also nurturing my emotional affair so that I can have the date, everything in place for when I make the switch and do the emotional discard. I don't know. It's crazy, but that's narcissist for you. So hopefully this video has been helpful.